Hello, everybody. Today's Friday. We're doing nonsense and robot today, which are two favorite categories. And also today's June 11th, which I forgot to say at the start. Do we have another orange soda today? Or orange drink?
No, he's failed over to full sugar Coke Classic.
Oh,
I haven't had a Coke in like 4 days, 5 days.
Probably been about 6 months for me. So, Kessler syndrome. It's a problem. And it's a problem that doesn't go away. It multiplies quickly.
It's like colon cancer. You need to get yourself checked out.
And I'm amazed that it took this long. But here we are.
Space debris has hit and damaged the International Space Station. This is on the little robotic arm thingy. They're thankful that it was in the arm, but also it didn't impair the functionality of the arm. It hit the insulation jacket, but that could have been really catastrophic if that had hit, the place where the astronauts live.
Or the astronauts themselves. There's probably
Yeah.
enough plating to stop it for something that size. But
Pretty big.
I mean, that's a problem. It's going to be a problem going forward. Space janitors. That's going to be a job. It's going to be an exciting
Mr.
one.
Cleanup detail, but for space junk.
And a dangerous one. Oh, maybe you just found a new indie
A new video
game hit, Krista. Yeah.
You deploy a space net to collect the junk.
They kind of have that with Shipbreaker.
Mm.
Have you seen that? You just
I've seen it, but I haven't tried it.
You just take ships apart. It's totally just turn on a podcast, and just take a ship apart. It's actually pretty good. Also, this is a robot section, but I've started using robot section as kind of a catch-all for science. So we're doing a couple of science stories before we get to the actual
It's
robots.
kind of a robot.
And
Happy Energy Robot.
they should rename it Happy Energy Robot and make one of those amazing Chinese anime.
Yeah.
It probably has one, right?
Yeah,
'Cause
probably.
everything has one.
Chinese artificial sun hits new mark in fusion energy mission. Facility of the country's east maintains extreme temperatures for 5 times longer than its previous benchmark. Similar endeavors are underway in the United States, Russia, and South Korea. What was it, like 19 million Kelvin? Or
It was the hottest thing on Earth for that 5 minutes. It was an amazing amount of temperature.
160 million degrees Celsius for 20 seconds.
Do you think that would warm up a hot pocket?
Only the outside, and the inside would still be frozen.
All it is a hot pocket under 50 atmospheres of pressure. That's it.
You get a very small, very warm hot pocket at the end of that. Well, Alexa, she's a robot, and she's in your house. Why do you let her in your house? You shouldn't.
Alexa has a new secret superpower, transforming into a security camera. A new setting recently appeared for Amazon Echo show smart displays that make them behave more like traditional security cameras. The camera's just on all the time, except it lets you know it's on all the time as opposed to just being on all the time without you knowing.
Well, so traditionally they had the drop-in feature, so you could just drop into your camera and look at what was going on. But that showed your face on the screen, so whoever was in the house knew that you were dropping in. This feature, should you turn it on, lets you do that without anybody knowing that you're there. Now, I'm glad that we can trust Amazon to never abuse this and turn this on without our permission.
How long until law enforcement requests pop up in neighborhoods?
There probably won't be requests. They'll just quietly sell it to them.
And that's definitely going to be a part of this.
They're like, we really took some flack on that feature before, so we're just not going to let anyone know that we do that.
The thing that's going to save us here, this is my prediction. It's going to be cops being too dumb to use this. And somebody's going to be sitting there, like having a glass of wine, reading a book, and they're going to see some detective just like looking through. What?
It's like, who are you? Oh, I'm Detective Murphy. I'm just looking for a murderer.
No, when they say, who are you? He's going to be like, and then turn it off because he didn't use the correct one. He used the drop-in. And speaking of Amazon, they use AI to determine where their drivers go, like the exact path. UPS famously did this first.
Yeah.
And they saved a ton of money
Only turn left.
by making all these fuel-saving decisions. Well, it seems like Lord Bezos has taken this one step further and one step more dangerous, or perhaps several hundred steps more dangerous.
Amazon's cost-saving routing algorithm makes drivers walk into traffic It's pretty horrendous, although he said it much more thingy there. You're crossing multiple lanes, busy traffic. So the software is like, yeah, you need to take the package from here and get it to over there. And it's like, but through the traffic, and it's like, go, meatbag.
So it seems, the way I understand this, the algorithm isn't all that aware of the terrain. It just realizes if you park right here, you'll be able to make the next 5 deliveries quickly without using any fuel. But they don't care that there might be 6 lanes of traffic between you and one of those deliveries. So you just have to sort of Frogger your way across the highway. But you have to also do this holding packages. So it's hard mode Frogger.
The Amazon delivery drivers here really, really hate grocery day because they have multiple heavy boxes they have to bring in.
I'm sure it's just a nightmare.
Yeah.
Yeah. We should appreciate the Amazon drivers. I mean, I suppose here's the question. Here's the conundrum. If I stopped using Amazon and they were out of work, are they better or worse off than if I keep using Amazon?
Well, at least one of the delivery drivers that I don't see anymore, I think they had to let him go. Literally a few times he just knocked on the door and was like, hey, I left your packages like 4 doors down because I was doing a delivery there and I figured you could go get it whenever you wanted.
I'm not okay with that. That's not okay. You can't get away with that. I'm sorry.
It doesn't seem that he has.
I appreciate your plight, but I'm not. I want no reason to ever interact with my neighbors ever. And I had to do that because of a misdelivered package already.
In our case, it was the place on the corner, so that was quite a trek.
Yeah, that's. And if it's something heavy,
yeah,
that's probably why I did it. Well, we know that AI is being used. Facial recognition AI is constantly scraping. Clearview, yeah, they're getting, slapped on the wrist for it. But right now, Clearview is actively building the database. No question about it. But that's not the only kind of face. The hilarious thing I would love to see here, I would love to see somebody run these side by side and see if koala did better than African American. What do you think?
Probably so.
I mean, koalas have probably pretty distinct faces, right?
Yeah. Australian researchers launched AI koala facial recognition. Researchers are installing facial recognition technology at koala crossing locations to better monitor koala behavior and prevent vehicle fatalities. They hope AI will help us save the marsupial from extinction. Why don't they just tag them?
Look how they always just look so surly. They're kind of adorable in a weird way, though. So what they want to know is they have these koala crossing places to try to keep them from getting hit by cars. They want to know if the same koalas are using the koala crossings over and over, or if that doesn't matter at all. So they got to keep their faces in the AI.
Tag them.
This is probably better because it's probably been trained on koala faces specifically in a way that other races aren't trained with AI.
You think there's one koala who just doesn't fit for whatever reason? What about an albino koala?
$90,000. Whew.
What do they offer something to the ecosystem? Or do we just love them because they're adorable?
I think we just love them and they're like endangered.
There's a lot of endangered species that were not cute, that we were just like, nah, don't worry about that one.
Yeah.
Or ones that were delicious. I don't know about this one. I guess it could be useful. I think this would definitely get in the way on a keyboard, don't you think?
Yeah.
I don't think I would want it for that reason.
Research finds human brains can easily adapt to controlling a robotic third thumb. I knew that without having to do the research, which is, people that have less fingers than normal adapt to that pretty well too.
Now she's wearing this armband here, and I was curious if that was part of it, but they say that you control it with a foot pedal. Which
seems weird.
Reduces the functionality of it, but they claim that you can pretty easily get used to it. So you see here, she's doing some stuff with it. And they got this one, blowing some bubbles, I guess.
No, that would be great because when I worked with the 3-year-olds, one of the calming strategies was you'd blow bubbles for them, but this way you'd have one hand free to push them away. Because they all want to get their hands on the bubble wand. It's like no. But this way you can still continue to blow bubbles to keep the others pacified, and then you redirect the other one who's trying to grab the bubble wand.
And no matter how big their tiny monster heads are, you could palm them and push them away. We have seen self-driving cars. We've seen self-driving motorcycles. We have seen self-driving planes even. And we've probably seen this too, but not at
Self-driving
this,
delivery robots.
yeah, not at this scale. And this seems like a pretty good idea.
Amsterdam tests out electric autonomous boats in its canals. So you can see there's some people relaxing and doing some stuff, and the boat's just like, I'm going to get you from A to B. That's my mission in life.
So this historic sailing vessel over here is a tourist attraction, and the boat is programmed to take you right next to it and let you check it out. How long until someone climbs off of the boat because there's no authority present and climbs onto the historic sailboat and starts a fire?
Not very long.
I will say that I really like grocery delivery. I like the convenience of it. It's too expensive. You're really a lazy piece of garbage when you click that button and you're like, I could just go.
It's so convenient.
I could save like $20 if I just
so
go.
convenient.
I've done it several times now, but I will say I hate it when I do get off the couch and go, and all of a sudden, all these shoppers are in my way. All these Instacart shoppers.
Yeah.
So Instacart knows that's a problem.
Instacart bets on robots to shrink the ranks of its $500,000 delivery drivers that they have currently employed. What about the happy medium where you show up outside a number 6 slot and you check in a number 6 slot in the app and then they just bring your groceries to you?
The pickup, yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
They don't really charge you for that.
See, here's the thing about my car, though. I have to load the groceries into like a mixture of the passenger seat and the net. And if anything back there is like too mobile and I go into my hard braking that GM constantly chastises me for, then I might take it to the back of the head or something.
Yeah.
So
Can you just take your truck to the store? Wouldn't that solve that problem?
yeah, but then if it's raining, you still have to put it in the cab.
Yeah.
And I'm very specific about how I balance that.
I happen to have an extra topper.
For the truck bed?
Yeah.
Nah,
I don't even know if it fits.
But yeah, I would. Now, but if a robot is doing it, is that more or less intrusive to your shopping experience?
I think the robot would do it much faster and more efficient, and it would automatically do the route finding.
But I think in most cases, they're trying to move them out of the main store and create like little pop-up warehouse sections for them.
I think ultimately that's what we have to do because, it's too much of a chore as it is right now to navigate, mega Walmart and mega Lowe's. It's like, it's cavernous like in Idiocracy where it's just, rows and rows and rows and rows and rows of stores. If I could just these are the things that I need and I could just go and get them.
Although
all at once without having to find them.
Do you find, I don't know, I think you do more just like let it just go week to week, right?
Yeah.
You have a recurring order, but I go in and craft my carts like lovingly by hand. I find that I buy way worse food choices when I shop online. I buy so much more sugar when I have like time to think about it.
Or you find you do that when you do the takeout?
The delivery, yes.
Ah, okay.
That's
interesting because I feel like it would be the other way because you'd be more likely to impulse purchase while you're in the store.
I don't know. I think I've developed a resistance to that, but when it's on an online shopping, I don't have that anymore.
I think we need to develop an app that's like Blue Apron, but undercuts Blue Apron so that it looks at all the stuff that you're buying and figures out the most economical way to have reasonable meals that are not impossible to cook.
It wouldn't work with me because I still need the convenience. I don't know. But I am pro robot shoppers. More robot shoppers. This is a story that when I saw it, I thought this is going to be some like technicality. It's not going to be exactly what they said. But as far as I can tell, it's exactly what they said.
Autonomous drone attacked soldiers in Libya all on its own. Libyan forces were hunted down and remotely engaged by an autonomous drone, a UN report says. So these drones all explode.
And it seemed like, the big question of autonomous drone murderers is how do we keep them from turning on us? It didn't seem like they knew that only their enemy was in this area.
Yeah.
So it was just don't discriminate, just kill. And I'm pretty sure
that looked like a human, murder it.
That's got to be a treaty violation.
The UN, the whole completely automated whatever is not kosher under the UN rules of engagement.
Yeah, that's a problem. And if you need to if you need some help about how that's going to be a problem, landmines. We are still dealing with landmines that were buried long, long ago. Imagine one of these little guys stuck in a tree, and then something happens. A bird is building a nest and happens to flip one of the switches. That would be terrifying. We can't have that. But we will.
Every time you go outside, you have to like put on your banana sticker because like, oh, there might be a rogue drone out there. You make sure it's kind of like putting on sunscreen or like bug spray.
You get out your umbrella to stop the AI cameras. You put your banana sticker on top of the umbrella.
Yeah, but you have to have it on at all times.
The banana sticker, I think, factors heavily into the next story.
Yeah. Well, this was amazing. Did you watch the Iron Dome footage?
Yeah.
I was rapt staring at that. I was like, wow, we are living in the future.
Yeah.
It's a terrifying future, but we're living in it. And that's actually not what this is about, though. This is about choosing a target.
Yeah.
Because in the West Bank, you don't know where Hamas is. They're in different buildings and stuff like that. They have a pretty good idea, but they can't just like strike against everybody because there's a lot of civilians in there. So how do you choose? Well, in the most terrifying way possible.
The Jerusalem Post reports that Israel's operation against Hamas was the world's first AI war. So AI is how they chose some of their targets. And the whole time you should go read this article because there's a lot of really interesting stuff here. But as you peel back the linoleum on this a little bit, the algorithm defines a lot of things. We've probably already said too much on this week's episodes. How do we know that the algorithm was making reasonable choices?
So, signal intelligence, visual intelligence, human intelligence, geographical intelligence, and more. So they have a lot of data points on these locations and these people. And the AI is presumably gobbling all of that up and spitting out bomb here.
Yeah.
And if you watch those videos, they certainly did. They knocked down a couple of office buildings. Also, they're like the tunnel tactic. Did we talk about that before? What they did was they kind of announced on social media that a strike was incoming, and all the militants went into the defensive tunnels. Then they bunker busted them.
Oh,
Yeah, it's effective. I don't know how fair it is, but I guess all's fair, right? We've talked a lot about farming robots, but farming robots, they were never like one-stop shopping.
Mm-mm.
You had to kind of set everything up for them, and that seemed like almost as much work as actually just doing it. But this promises what no one has done so far.
robots and artificial intelligence to guide Australia's first fully automated farm. So this is going to sow, plant, till, fertilize, to handle the weeds, you name it.
I think when we did the John Deere story where people were remotely farming.
Yeah.
And you mentioned you're like, give me 20 screens, and that's what this is going to be.
Yeah.
You're going to be looking at all of your various machinery out there, and then you can like jump in and take over, I guess, if you need to, or change something about them if you need to.
Oh, I've already threshed little Timmy. It's too late now.
No reason to stop it.
It's cool, but there's also part of me that wonders, like, how adaptable will this be? Like, will it know to rotate crops and stuff? Or, like, will this deplete the soil after a couple of years because you're just farming the same thing over and over because you only bought the software package that deals with, like, soy, for example?
I doubt it's that automated. I'd say you still have to plan and, map and do everything on your own beforehand.
And tell it where to actually do its work, I guess.
I mean, we're getting to a point where, like, at what point does the new version of Farm Simulator just this? There's a farm in France somewhere.
You're playing it on Steam, but you're not really playing it on Steam.
Exactly. And that's only in competitive mode. So, people who are just going to grief, you weed them out first. And then in the hardcore esports version, people are sitting in an arena in Frankfurt playing a game in competition that's actually a farm in France. And then you could have spectators in both places. The NFTs apparently suffered a great downfall this week. Did you follow that at all? A lot of people saying the bubble is bursting in the NFT space.
Makes sense.
Maybe that's a short-lived thing. Maybe it's to do with the crypto fallout. But we did have a first in the NFT world.
My interview with an NFT. Alice is billed as the world's first intelligent NFT. Decrypt followed her down the rabbit hole. All right, so it's not possible for AI to exist on the blockchain. Come on. This is just a link to a thing.
NFTs.
Uh,
That makes my skin crawl.
She's being auctioned off at Sotheby's.
Sotheby's.
Yeah.
I think they corrected this last. Sotheby's.
Sotheby's.
I can't remember.
The famous auction house.
I don't think that I would want to own Alice. She is GPT-3, so
She's definitely not on the blockchain.
you could definitely get a version of Alice for much cheaper. The little Martian helicopter continues to amaze us. It was, everybody was like, can it do one flight? Well, it's done 6. Get some of that. But I do feel kind of bad for it because its destiny is to keep going until it fails.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, it's going to die and we're going to watch it die. But not today.
NASA's Mars helicopter goes on stressful wild flight after malfunction. Problem with the camera-based navigation system saw the helicopter wobble through the air in the biggest tech issue Ingenuity has faced. So the camera system uses the cameras to figure out where it should be, but it also uses telemetry to limit, how far it moves and like that kind of thing. So it got out of sync slightly. There was like a timing issue where a frame was dropped and the software was making decisions about data that was not actually relevant anymore. Like the thing had moved on. And so that caused it to overcompensate and basically oscillate. Well, they got it. They were able to land it. And, they were like, well, it operated just right around the operational envelope that we expected. So it actually performed pretty well.
And that's important
Yeah.
for automation on Mars. It needs to be able to deal with the unexpected.
Yep.
So, good job. So impressed by the Mars rover teams.
Doing his best.
They did do a pretty good job.
Moving on to nonsense, and I'm a big advocate of Nestle Pure Life water because it is the most delicious water. And I'll fight you. I'll fight you if you tell me otherwise. In fact, actually, you know what? This is Deer Park because it's Kroger delivery.
Yeah. We have that problem too.
And it's disgusting.
Is Deer Park better or worse than Kroger brand? Because I actually think Kroger brand is better than Deer Park.
I don't know if I've had, we used to have Kroger brand a lot here.
Yeah.
I think I remember not liking that or not hating that.
Yeah.
So maybe it is better.
They keep subbing it for, like, we're still Nestle Pure Life, but they've delivered that maybe one time in the last year.
Which is weird because Meyer always has it.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on there. Maybe the truck stops there first. But one thing about it, if you think Nestle just sells water, oh boy, is that the tip of the iceberg. They sell an insane amount, down to, cat food and stuff like that. They sell almost everything. And there's a dark secret about their entire portfolio.
The cat food that I mentioned like a week ago or 2 weeks ago, was that on this program? I don't remember. It was recalled. It poisoned a bunch of people's pets.
Oh, but you
No.
said that your mom's cat reacted poorly to it.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh no.
What brand was that?
I don't know. It was Blue Can.
Ugh.
They were like, oh, we had a bad batch. Sorry.
Well, this isn't that kind of problem at Nestle.
Yeah.
Nestle under fire over unhealthy products while they're working on a new strategy.
So this was a investor call. That is where you get the truth from companies, as opposed to obvious lies. And they admitted 60% of their food and drink lineup is not part of a recognized definition of health. In other words, heavily processed garbage.
Yep.
That's delicious.
It is delicious.
Yeah. I don't understand why they're trying to change something that's working for them.
Well, it's because people seem to be getting more health conscious these days. And it's like a marketing trend, and they recognize that they are not positioned to take advantage of it.
They should lean into how they already are, though, where it's like, we're your cheat day.
Yeah, it should be like they sell you a product and the packaging just overwhelmingly is, maximum flavor. Full
Yeah.
calories. 200% of your daily recommendation of sugar, and then a big yellow banner made by slaves. Just become the most evil become the corporation that they are on paper.
You've been eating kale all week. Have some, Hot Pockets to make up for it.
Hot Pockets are a terrible food. I think they are Nestle, aren't they?
Yeah.
I think they are too.
I remember liking Hot Pockets when I was a kid, but I had some maybe like a year ago. They were terrible.
I don't like Hot Pockets. They're hard to get the right temperature.
Well, you need a salt thorium reactor, Krista.
Yeah.
I always love a good pet story, and this one was hilarious just in terms of the overreaction. But I guess at a school you kind of got to err on the side of that, or
You never know when something's going to have rabies.
yeah.
Bobcat causes Pennsylvania high school evacuation. Revealed to be a missing house cat. Oops.
He was chipped. They found the owner. He's back. He's missing his tail, and they blame that as the reason they thought he was a bobcat. He also has some special coloring there. Although that just looks like a straight tabby to me. Doesn't that to you?
Yeah.
He's just a cat. Very obviously just a cat.
If I was at that
Meanwhile-
school... Go ahead, Krista.
Oh, you go.
If I was at that school and they told me to evacuate and I saw that cat, I would just go pick the cat up and love him.
Probably get detention or expelled.
Chris, what were you saying?
I was going to say, meanwhile, in eastern Kentucky, there are black bears that frequent the dumpsters at some of the schools, and they're like, just reroute the buses. It's fine.
Yeah, wow. Wonder how I got in there. Aren't they supposed to have really good security at the doors of schools?
Yeah. Supposed to.
Maybe an open window somewhere.
I don't think the really good security is going to fight a bear off for the children, though.
No, but I'm thinking like a child abductor.
Oh, I don't know that the security is going to fight off anybody that's super intimidating.
Well, here's this repulsive headline. I can't think of a word dark enough. And I don't even care about this kind of thing. I hate children. But even I understand how just reprehensible this is.
Make-A-Wish leader confesses to embezzling from charity for critically ill children. Former CEO of the Iowa chapter used the foundation credit cards to give himself unapproved bonuses and salary increases. Not a good look.
41,000.
Now, it's not a lot of money considering what they take in, but imagine what you could do for a sick kid with $40,000.
Yeah.
It's a pretty significant amount,
It
I
really
would
is.
say.
If nothing else, you could give a parent like a year off of work to take care of the kid. Oof. 10 years in prison. The 10 years in prison is only because it's over $10,000. If it was less than $10,000, it would be a very minor offense, even though it's extenuating circumstances.
Still equally terrible.
A lot of this kind of stuff happens and we never even hear about it just because they're like, well, just give the money back and nothing bad will happen.
Now, I don't know how the law works, but could the judge, could this be aggravated theft?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true or not, but it should be. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe that's a slippery slope and I shouldn't say that. This one was confusing. At first, I thought that there was sort of like a bombing run,
No.
but I think it was just for show.
Yeah. Kerfuffle after drone-carrying sex toy disrupts Albuquerque mayoral event. This isn't the first time this kind of thing has happened, but it's just like, this is such a farce and tragedy. It's like a New Mexico event disrupted his 20-year-old called candidate Tyrant while swinging fist.
Are they telling me that guy's 20 years old?
No, the 20-year-old was the one who disrupted it.
Oh, okay, yeah. So they're not sure. They can't prove it yet, although it seems pretty likely that one of his friends was operating the drone, and then he came up to sort of attack in person.
So there is a video here. I didn't see the video before, and it is exactly what it says on the box.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he claims that because obviously every head turned when that happened, and the noise that the drone made, it ruined his ability to speak.
Yeah.
NASA is heading back to the space station. They're going to study some things, and some adorable things are getting studied this time around.
NASA to launch baby squid to International Space Station. Squids in space.
Our image did not load here. There they are. Look at those little
Look
guys.
how cute they are.
That's so cute.
Unfortunately, they will be frozen before they are brought home. I don't think
Oh.
they survived that.
No.
That's not really a feel-good story.
But Imagine the fun they're going to have on the way up. Also, they have those tardigrades, the water bears, also mixed in with the squids, and will also be studied after they're basically killed.
Those survive. Well, you can't kill those. They survive
Yeah.
anything.
They're supposedly able to survive raw space. So, oh, they're so adorable. Squids, less adorable when they're older.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Little ones are nice though.
Now, I couldn't help but think about you here, Wendell, because as we know,
Yeah.
you have a fairly dangerous shrimp allergy, which you play fast and loose with.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, he
So,
carries an EpiPen. It's
it's
there
fine.
for a reason.
Now, if you had,
Shrimp
if,
are
you-
just so tasty.
if somebody came up to you and they had like just this amazing, he's like, this is a cicada chalupa, and it looked really good, would you be tempted?
I'll probably try it.
Even knowing this?
Don't eat cicadas if you're allergic to seafood, the FDA warns. They share a family relation to shrimp and lobsters. So this is marketing agencies, listen up. Here's your in. Cicadas are now land shrimp. Make it happen.
I haven't
it's
seen
a-
a lot of cicadas here yet.
It's a
I've seen a
delicacy.
few.
And the mascot for your food line should be the land shark. Land shark. Terrestrial seafood. Here's a crazy headline, and it's not quite what they say it is. And I would argue that this has nothing to do with any of it, because honestly, if you didn't already know that The Rock was a Pacific Islander, would you know it by looking at him?
No.
I think The Rock's success has less to do with his race and more to do with the fact that like he built a huge following before he got to Hollywood
Yeah.
and basically made them let him in.
Yeah.
And then continued to dominate.
A third of Asian American Pacific Islander roles in top films played by The Rock, a study shows. There just aren't enough roles for Pacific Islanders and Asian actors in general, and that's why we see The Rock so many times. Is it though?
I remember watching that. I can't remember what the name of the movie was. It Hobbs and Shaw, maybe?
Yeah.
Is that the one where he has to go back to his home island
Yeah.
and defend it? And they're like, we will only use the weapons of our people. And you're like, oh, okay. And then they use gasoline and engines and flares. I don't think those were all invented on an Asian Pacific island.
Attempt to be woke failed.
That wasn't a terrible movie, though. This headline, as a lawmaker, how do you pass this law and then not just say, "Wait, shouldn't we do this for everybody?" It makes sense to me that this should cover everybody. Why doesn't...
Illinois approves ban on police deception in juvenile interrogations. So when they're interrogating somebody underage, they're not allowed to lie or mislead anymore.
Turns out when a kid is in an interrogation room and completely freaked out and they don't know what's going on, you suggest something to them, they're just like, whatever will get me out of this room. Yes.
Yeah.
Just whatever you say, sir. I don't care. I just need to solve this right now. And they don't. And actually, adults do that too.
Yeah.
You got to be willing to sit in that room all day. All day, chat. Poop in the corner if you have to.
Well, there's been stories, at least I've heard in the past, where it's like the police will say something like, "Oh, you're not going to be able to see your parents again until you talk about this thing."
Yeah.
So that probably would get banned under this as well,
Yes, absolutely.
which is nice.
You got to check out the JCS Psychology channel. I guarantee you watch 2 or 3 of those videos. If you even see a cop car, you'll just stop talking. Like you could be in it, they could be 100 yards away and you see them and you just stop your conversation. Because, my God, they do it every day. You are not going to beat them at it.
No.
Especially if you're 12. How long has it been since Harambe?
Oh, many
5
years.
years, I think 2016.
How quickly we forget. The horizon of, societal memory apparently is 5 years.
I miss him every day.
Texas woman fired after climbing into monkey enclosure and feeding them Flamin Hot Cheetos. Those are the only things that saved her life.
But this points out the problem. Maybe in this instance, it's not a problem, but the problem with social media, she did not work at the zoo. She worked at a law firm. And when they saw that video, they were like, "No, she's done. We do not hire those kinds of morons here at this law firm."
You gotta wonder what was going through her mind.
Yeah, like what I mean, I don't. It's not good, and I don't fully understand it. But like in the Harambe instance, that was a kid who just like, was stupid and then climbed in some place they weren't supposed to be. This is an adult woman.
Yeah. Well, I got to think
This was intentional.
this had to be for the video, right? Like it had to be a TikTok or something.
Something.
Oh well.
Weird.
Do you think those monkeys, like, they enjoyed it? They're like, "Wow, this is weird, but I'm kind of into it." And then
Look at the spicy food endorphin.
12 hours later, they were taking just a hot Cheetos dump, and they're like, "What's going on?"
I'm dying.
They fling it across their enclosure.
Steam rolling off of it. And I had to end on this one because, yeah, what can you say? It's just the most disgusting thing in the world.
Illegally owned guns confiscated from home of anti-gun Democratic mayor in New York. Wow. Another case of a politician telegraphing exactly what they're doing behind closed doors.
Projecting. If you hear a pastor or a hardline Republican senator bashing homosexuality, guess what? And the same goes for the left and guns. It was her boyfriend's gun, who was a felon.
Don't say that. Jesus.
Do you think in all of her gun research, she read that law?
She's the mayor.
So she championed all these programs, and sure enough, now her house was raided because said boyfriend got caught with a little cocaine in a drug dragnet. Guess who started it?
She did.
It was her.
Oh.
Boy, that's you think he was hiding it from her, or did she know?
No, New York is approaching Chicago levels of corruption. It's really insane. Louis Rossman, the repair guy, he got a citation from New York City for not reporting laptops that were e-waste to the anti-theft system. So how like pawn stores have to log laptops into the thing? He had some laptops that people had brought in for repair that needed repair, that he gave them a quote for the repair, and then they never picked them up. And so, like, after 6 months, there's a store policy that they have to sign when they drop it off. It's like, if you abandon this in 6 months, it's mine.
That was the Hunter Biden thing.
Yeah, and so he got a hefty fine for not using that system. But he's like, I don't buy laptops from customers. They only abandon things. And so he called him and was like, he called the helpline to be like, do I have to do that? And they're like, we don't know. And he's like, well, I got a citation for it. And they're like, I guess just go to court and figure it out. So New York is unbelievably corrupt.
Yeah. Yep. That's what I mean, New York is probably more corrupt, but certainly those states are right there with them.
I guess this is New York State because it's Rochester, not New York City, but New York is just city and state. It's
New York City, you wouldn't even have those in the first place.
Yeah.
So it wasn't illegal that she had guns. It was because of the boyfriend.
Yeah.
It was her husband.
Oh, was it husband? Yeah.
It was
I'm
husband.
sorry.
But still, yeah, he was still a felon, according to that article. So, not good.
Nothing will happen to her.
No.
I hope that there's a follow-up to this. They might just ignore it after this, but we're going to find out that it's fine. Don't worry. I like how bearingarms.com has a quote here. The good news for Warren is there are 2 fewer guns on the street.
That might be facetious.
That's what she wanted. All right, Krista, can you give us a squid-related goodbye? A baby squid.
Oh, baby squid.
Baby squid.
Bye.